What if I told you the key to building a better future wasn't about fixing what's broken, but about discovering the incredible strengths we already have? Today, we're basically going to go on a treasure hunt, and it's in a place you might not expect, your very own community.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly, Innova. I think that's a question so many of us ask ourselves, right? You look around, you see all these huge, complicated challenges, and it's so easy to just feel completely overwhelmed. It feels like, where do you even begin to make a difference?
And you know what, Leo? That is a completely normal feeling. We are all trying to navigate these massive shifts. Globalization, brand new tech, changing demographics. It's totally natural to feel a little anxious. But here's the thing. The real power isn't in the change itself. It's all about how we decide to see it.
Okay, so this is the crucial point. We really do have a choice. On one hand, we can look at change and see it as a threat. And that path, well, it leads to an us versus them mentality. And that's where you get division. Or, and this is really the core idea for today, we can see it as an opportunity, a chance to build bridges, to create a sense of we, and to really embrace diversity as this incredibly powerful positive force.
And once you choose that opportunity mindset, everything changes. You start looking for what we're going to call community gold. And it is a fundamental shift in perspective. Think about it. Instead of starting with a giant list of problems, you start by asking, okay, what are the strengths, what are the skills, what are the hidden talents that are already right here?
So that gold we're talking about, it actually has a name, a community asset. And it's really simple. It's any positive resource you can find. And we're not just talking about buildings or parks here. We're talking about the people, the groups they form, and the local institutions that are already part of the fabric of the community.
Wait, okay, that's really interesting. So you're saying a community asset could actually be my neighbor who's an amazing gardener, or the local book club that meets on Tuesdays? It's not just the library building itself? So the actual gifts of individual people count as assets?
Yes, Leo, you've absolutely nailed it. That's precisely it. And we can actually break these assets down into three main types. First, you've got your institutional assets. Think schools, libraries, local businesses. Then you have citizen associations, which is exactly like that book club you mentioned. And maybe most importantly, you have the individual assets, those unique gifts and skills that every single person in the neighborhood has.
All right, so we know what we're looking for now. But how do we actually find it all? Well, this is where the idea becomes a super practical tool. We're going to create an asset map. And yeah, it's literally a treasure map of your community's strengths.
And the process is actually beautifully simple. First up is the what. This is a strength-based approach. The motto here is, look for what's strong, not what's wrong. Step 2 is the how. This is where you actively go out and identify all those assets, the institutions, the individuals, the associations. And finally, step 3, the purpose. You document all these resources so you can start to build on them, connect them, and use them to make the entire community stronger. And listen, this is so much more than just making a list. The real power, the magic, is in the outcome. When you start approaching a community this way, you empower people. They start to see their own value, to recognize their own strengths. And that simple shift in perspective, it can be absolutely transformative. It's a game changer.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. But I have a question. How do we make sure this treasure map actually helps everyone? How do we avoid just mapping the assets of the people who are already well-connected or really easy to see?
That is the perfect question, Leo, and it's absolutely crucial. Because if our map only shows us the easy-to-find treasure, we're totally missing the point. To make sure everyone benefits, we need a guiding philosophy. And there's a really powerful framework for this called targeted universalism.
So here's how it works, and it's actually pretty brilliant. You start by setting a universal goal, something that benefits everybody. Let's say we want all kids in our town to be great readers. Now, you can think of that goal as the roof of a house, but just saying everyone get to the roof doesn't work, right? Different people are starting from different places. So you create targeted strategies to help different groups reach that same roof. Maybe one group needs after-school tutoring, another might need access to audiobooks. The goal is universal, but the ways to get there are specific. It's about making sure everyone has the right ladder to reach that same roof.
So let's start putting all these pieces together, because this isn't just some theoretical exercise, right? This is a very real invitation for all of us to start looking at our communities in a totally new way. Yeah, it's an invitation to actually become an asset mapper.
Okay, so that brings us to the big bottom line question.
Let's say we've done it. We made the map, we've identified all this treasure, so what? What now? What are the real, tangible benefits of actually doing all this work? Oh, the uses are so practical. You wouldn't believe it. This map can spark brand new community projects because you suddenly see all the resources you've got. It builds connections between people who maybe lived next door for years and never knew they shared a passion. It empowers individuals, it shifts the entire community's mindset from what we lack to what we have. And it can even inform smarter, more inclusive policies. So you see, it's not just a map, it's a blueprint for building from your strengths.
So, we're going to leave you with a question to take with you. The next time you're walking around your neighborhood, or at your workplace, or just in your town, take a fresh look around and ask yourself, what skills, what passions, what positive forces are just waiting to be discovered? What treasure is hidden right here in my community?